Alright guys, Fool to come to you with another video. I hope all is well with y'all. I hope y'all are doing great. So, I just want to talk a little bit of boxing right now because of the simple fact that, we're looking forward to the Pacquiao-Spence fight. That was the main one that many people are looking for. But there's another fight that is coming up and that has the potential to be a great fight, provided if the person who David Benavidez is dancing with shows up. And his name is, and most of the fans of the sport know him, Jose Benavidez Uzcategui. Now this has the potential to be a good fight, man. As a matter of fact, I actually had Uzcategui's trainer in a previous video and a while back because I think very highly of I used to think very highly of Uzcategui, but after the Caleb Plant fight, it just kind of set him back. I think after that fight he lost again to a Mayweather fighter, but ever since he's kind of regrouped in Mexico and had a couple of local fights in Tijuana, I think, TJ. But it depends on what Uzcategui shows up. They had their little press conference and stuff, and they kept everything respectable. Everything was cool and whatnot. But it really depends on who shows up that night. Now, here's the thing. What drew me to Uzcategui. He, granted, he's like a very come-forward pressure fighter. And that's usually not my style of fighters that I like. However, he does subtle little defensive things that I like. And not only that, he can box. Like, that's the thing. Like, don't get it twisted. He can box because he's had 327 amateur fights, right? So he can box. So that's the kind of things that I kind of like too about him. So now we're here. And they say that it's a title eliminator, right? They always say that, it's a title eliminator, this, that, and the other. I think it's BS, because how often do these people actually fight champions after they go through title eliminators? Hell, Erickson Lubin has been through 3 title eliminators already. So, these fights, they're crazy when they say that it's a title eliminator. They just do that to sell the fight, man. Now, let's get to it. Both have similar styles of fighting. Both share I guess you can say a common, how should I put this? They share a common denominator. They both fought a Durrell. David Benavidez, he fought Anthony Durrell. And then Uzcategui, he fought Andre Durrell. Now, you can't really compare them because they're two different brothers, right? But if you ask me, Uzcategui had the more impressive stoppage when he fought the brothers. Because, he was just breaking them down. Uzcategui just broke that dude down, okay? So, it was more impressive to me. The Uzcategui victory was more impressive. He broke him down. Don't get it twisted. David Benavidez gave him that work too, though. All right, don't get it twisted. Or actually, I want to say that Anthony Durrell was giving David Benavidez problems, okay? Because for one, Anthony Durrell, he has some, some movement in his boxing. So that was offsetting David Benavidez a lot. Because you have to understand something. David Benavidez is a big middleweight. That dude is like, he's big super middleweight, man. So the thing is that he even said, David Benavidez even said that I'm coming forward. I'm looking for the KO. I'm looking for the knockout, right? So, in my humble recommendation, and I'm not a coach, I'm not his coach, Uzcategui's coach, but you know, I am gonna be going for David Uzcategui, but I kind of have it already knowing that, you know, David Benavidez will probably win. And I'm gonna give a prediction after on how he's gonna win towards the tail end of this video. But I think, honestly, that and this may be unpopular opinion, but I believe it. You know, I really believe this. David Benavidez, he doesn't do that much boxing. You know what I mean? He doesn't really box that much. He's in there to like get you out of there. You know what I mean? And even if that means eating a couple of shots to do so, he will do it. You know what I mean? Because what I will say is that I don't think David Benavidez has really had an opponent that really he respected their power. Like, he just like, shrugged it off. You know what I mean? So that's the one thing. That's what David Benavidez does. The reason why he does that is that's how he was trained. It's been effective. It's worked for him thus far. And also, you know, I guess he's trying to also sell. You know, that's honestly what puts butts in seats is knockouts. You know, a lot of times, of course, though, some of us, like myself, we admire the lead up to the knockout. You know, example, what Jaron Ennis did to Sergey Limpinets, what led up to that knockout. That's what we admire, right? So, with that being said, that's David Benavidez. That's his style. He goes for the knockout, goes for the gusto, right? Uzcategui is in the very same vein, right? However, this is the thing about Uzcategui, and his trainer says this. Now, granted, many times Uzcategui got dropped, flash knockdowns, and what have you. It's happened to him, right? However, he has boxing skills that many people kind of overlook. One of the boxing skills that he has that people overlook is that he can switch it. Okay? He can switch. He can switch from orthodox to southpaw. He's done it a couple of times. Okay? This could present a problem to David Benavidez. This could offset him. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if he can pull that out and use it effectively, I don't know, man. Now, the thing is, I want to say something about Jose Uzcategui. All right? I want to say this. I watched his fights, especially I still visit the Andre Durrell fight. I still visit that fight sometimes, you know. Here's the thing about him, all right? And this is no excuse, because a fight's a fight. You're going to get hit. You're going to get hit. That's just a part of the boxing game. But I want to say something. When you look at his losses, okay? When you look at his losses, when you look at the loss, when you look at the loss to Caleb Plant, for example, right? Uzcategui's face was basically unmarked. And his face didn't really have any marks on it, okay? Well, and granted, Caleb Plant, no disrespect to him, but he can't really crack an egg, no disrespect, but great boxer, Now, when you look at Caleb Plant's face after that fight, that dude had cuts. That dude was daddy lump. And these didn't come from headbutts. There was no class of heads. No, that came from Uzcategui putting it on them. Now, here's another thing about that too. It must be understood. This must be understood. When it comes to that, when it comes to Uzcategui putting it on him, David Benavidez said something. But I don't think it's true. I will disagree with him on this. I will definitely disagree with him on this. David Benavidez said that after the Uzcategui fight, that Caleb Plant hasn't been the same fighter. That's what he's of that opinion, that he's not the same fighter anymore. He's had a tough run. Basically, he hasn't looked any good in his last fights. He was alluding to that. And I think it was because, Uzcategui, in the second half of the fight, that's when Uzcategui started putting it on. Right? Now, here's another thing, too. All right, I want to say something else. This is what I want to say. When it comes to the other loss, the one against Mayweather, the Mayweather promoted fighter, I forgot his name. I think it started with an L or something. Lionel something. I believe that was his name. When it came to that loss, when you look at Lionel's face, woo! Another daddy lump, okay? Uzcategui's face clean. But a loss is a loss at the end of the day, and a win is that's it at the end of the day. But I'm just saying this to tell you that, Uzcategui, he has subtle defensive maneuvers that I see that I'm like, hey, I see you. So if we can see, I'm going to end the video on this note. If we can possibly see a vintage Uzcategui, Uzcategui who was fighting Darrell, Uzcategui who, there was one Dominican opponent when he pretty much just outboxed him the whole fight. He didn't go for the gusto as usual. Then I don't know. I don't know, because here's the thing. He has to fight behind that jab. And that's the one thing about him. This is the one thing that may set him back. The speed. He doesn't really have speed, but he's heavy-handed. But he doesn't have a lot of athletic ability. And I may have to give David Benavidez the nod with that athletic ability. When it comes to the youth, they're not too far apart. David Benavidez is 24. Uzcategui is 30 years old. So, 6-year difference. So, with that being said, with all that being said, I have this fight going in a few ways, okay? There's a few ways I have this fight going. First way I have is a game Uzcategui does not show up that night and he gets stopped, okay? By David Benavidez. In the early rounds, too. It can happen in the early rounds if Uzcategui doesn't show up. Now, granted, Uzcategui has not been knocked out before. Now, another way I have this fight going is a split decision in favor of David Benavidez. Right? In the final scenario, I'm just going to say this is the final scenario I am going to present. A tie, a draw, a majority draw. And I think those are my three predictions, because in order for Uzcategui to have any means to win this fight, I think what he'll have to do is he'll have to systematically break Benavidez down through boxing him. I do think that Uzcategui is the better boxer than David Benavidez. He may have to bring those tools out of the shed, man. Real talk. Real rap. So we're going to wait and see what happens. I'm looking forward to this fight. On a side note, this is completely random. But sometimes if you're into boxing, it could strike common ground with females. I remember I was in 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica, and I was on like a live chat or something as I was walking, and we were talking about the Uzcategui Caleb Plant fight. And it's crazy that there was actually there were 2 Venezuelan females, and they overheard me say the name of Uzcategui. And they were like, "Oh, you know him?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I'm waiting for his fight this weekend." And their eyes lit up. And we just struck a combo, and then, the rest is history. Put it this way, it was a happy ending. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's on the side note. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight. I just really hope an A-game Uzcategui shows up, because I think an A-game Uzcategui gives work, But anyhow, that's all I got for now. I'll probably go live tomorrow. We're going to talk some more boxing, I don't know if I'm going to mention the whole Canelo fiasco, bro. It's not even worth it. What's shown doesn't need to be said, basically. But anyhow, Foolish signing out. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments, like and subscribe. And I'm on to the next one. Njaro.